Hey, how are you, everybody? I'd like to share something with you guys, some little information of of the Confederate flag and the American flag. And the show The Dukes of Hazzards, which I grew up watching as a child. One of my favorite TV shows, besides The Incredible Hulk and Wonder Woman, Chips. You know, some of those shows were my favorite shows. So here I have a complete first season of the Dukes of Hazzards. I'm a big fan, a very big fan of the Dukes of Hazzards. As a matter of fact, I had a big crush on Daisy Dukes. I had the little car. I had different little cars of the General Lee. You know, in many ways, the way that I dress nowadays resembles Bo and Luke. I get my style from them. A lot of my southern accent, I am a Texan, but a lot of my southern accent, I kind of get it from them, but also because I also lived in Tennessee. But here's my question regarding the Confederate flag, which I actually have one, and the American flag, which I have one too. Um, it has come to my attention that perhaps as a conservative Republican voter, maybe I shouldn't have a Confederate flag. And the only reason I bought the Confederate flag a very long time ago was because I liked this TV show. You know, I'm a big fan of the Dukes of Hazzards. And Texas is part of the South. But I've come to realize that how can I, a Republican voter, a conservative, have also promote the Confederate flag, which the Confederate flag is actually a democratic flag. To me, it's a democratic symbol. I know that to many people, it's heritage. Their great grandfathers fought in the Civil War, but that's the past. I have a past too. I have ancestors that I'm two people in one. I have an indigenous past, and I also have a European, and my European DNA goes as far as the Middle East. But to me, that's the past. I'm fond that and I'm okay that I am part indigenous and part, you know, as far as the Middle East goes. I'm I'm okay with that. But many things in the past are the past. Um, for example, I have nothing against the Catholic Church, you know, for what they did in the Inquisition. There's no way to go back in the past and fix that. There's no way. The only thing that could be done is not to let that happen again. Or say, for example, I know I'm very off the topic, but or say, for example, what the Germans did, what the Nazis did to the Jewish people, and in Germany and in Poland and all those Nazi occupied places. Do I have something against Germans nowadays? No, I have nothing against them. Do I have something against my European ancestors that came and, you know, pretty much almost wiped out my other side of myself, my indigenous part of myself, and took their lands and slaughtered a lot of their people? No, I have nothing. That's the past. I try to just learn from history and move forward, and don't let it happen again. That's the way I think, and I personally choose the more like the more, how can I say, the more just I like, for example, the Democrats. they have, and this is where I'm going with this, the rebel flag, the Confederate flag, and you know the Democrats are trying to bury their racist history, and yet modern day Democrats who vote for Democrats, for the Democratic Party, don't seem to know about the Democrats' racist history. Um, and I'd like to show, with the very little that I know, I'd like to share with you guys so that you guys can know who you're voting for. Okay, and first of all, I'm not gonna get rid of this. This is my favorite TV show because it's a TV show to me. The Confederate flag is a TV show to me. It's until when I got older and realized what the true meaning of that flag was, and I realized like, maybe it's not a good thing to have one. In January, early days of January, when Trump, and that's something that that disappointed me of President Trump. I mean, it is what it is, man. I think if I was there amongst all the patriots and listening to Trump's speech, I think I would have been swept by the spirit of of what was going on, and I probably would have been, trying to get into the Capitol. It's no different from when you're at a football game and you're in the spirit of that football game with everyone else, or in the spirit of that soccer game, or when you go into a concert and you're in the spirit, with not spirit as in spiritual thing. You're like in sync with everybody, and you're like, yeah. So I think what Trump did what's wrong, and I hope he takes account of that. That really hurt him, and but whatever. I'm digressing. So should a oh yeah, let me go back to what I was saying. Okay, about that day on what happened in Washington. So everybody stormed the Capitol, and they were jumping the walls and went all the way in deep, and even in Nancy Pelosi, some guy put his boots, sat down and put his feet on his boots in there, and and then there was this guy. There was a couple of people with their Confederate flags, with their Democratic symbol inside there, and I'm thinking like, wait a minute, isn't that a Confederate, a Democratic Dixiecrat symbol? I mean, George Wallace. You could see pictures on the internet with George Wallace, a Democrat, with his Confederate flag in the back. Should a Republican voter have that? It's time. We have to draw a line, and we have to choose. Okay, we have to change. We cannot have a Democratic symbol in a Republican Party. We cannot allow that. That cannot happen. I think it belongs to the Democrats. The Confederate flag is a symbol of the Democrats. That's what I'm trying to say. I remember a few years ago when I was working at UT a long time ago, when they were making a big fart of taking down the Confederate statues of Robert E. Lee and the rest of the Confederate statues that were there in the south lawn of the UT Tower. And I'm thinking, why are they taking this down? Why are they doing this? And then not too long ago, a few years ago, when Trump was still in office, people were taking down Confederate statues, bronze statues, and what's that guy? What's his name though? Christopher Columbus, but that's something else. I really don't care about Christopher Columbus. I mean, that's something else. But let's focus on the Confederate statues. And Trump was saying, why are they tearing down these statues? It's not that he was on the side of the Confederates or KKK or anything, but it's American history. These statues, these bronze statues or concrete statues, are part of the American history. They're part of the Democratic Party's history, and they're tearing it down and then pointing the finger at the Republicans, say, look, that's their history, when it's not true. The Democrats have a racist history, and people need to know about this. I'm in the party of Lincoln. I'm that's I'm in the party of what's his Ronald Reagan. I grew up with Ronald Reagan. I was born during the Carter administration in the mid 1970s, but I don't remember Jimmy Carter. He's a Democrat. So, but I do remember Ronald Reagan. I even had his little garbage pail kid. I remember Nancy Reagan and her ads, just say no to drugs. I remember when Ronald Reagan gave amnesty to a lot of Hispanic people. He did good things. From Abraham Lincoln to Ronald Reagan, we've not had a good Republican president. From those two men, we've not had a good Republican. I thought Trump was that Republican, that other one, but nah, it didn't happen, man. The way it went down was just wrong. But a lot of people know your history. Democrats know your history, and for those Democrats who are Catholics, and how can you be a good Catholic and vote for the Democratic Party? They're the ones. I mean, to me, when it comes to abortion, I could care less what women do with their bodies. Whatever, I mean, I have nothing to do with that. I mean, I was born a man, so. But if you are a Democrat, if you are a Catholic, and you believe that babies are, shouldn't be aborted, and you believe that if a woman gets pregnant, she should not abort, well, then why are you voting for the Democratic Party when it's the Republican Party that promotes pro-life? And like I said, when it comes to abortion, I'm kind of in the middle. I could care less what women do. I mean, I think, honestly, I'm going to be straight up, man. I think that there should be abortion clinics. If, whatever. I'm not the one aborting the babies. I'm not, or the fetus. I'm not the one doing it. I was born a man. And if I was born a woman, well then, either I would be using protection or have no sex at all, or just get married and, and produce babies. That's it. But I was born a man, and a man is what I am. And, abortion, I don't know what to say about it, man. That's where I stand in the middle. But let me go back to those religious Democrats that vote for a party that allows abortion. I mean, come on. It's something to think about. Maybe it's time to switch parties. Maybe it's time to do some research on your Democratic Party and see who has a more favorable history. Think about it. Take your time. I think the Democratic Party started changing like around the time of LBJ and John F. Kennedy. LBJ used to be an educator. He was a teacher. He was teaching Hispanic kids, and I think while he was teaching these Hispanic kids, there's a story that LBJ is saying that he realized, there's an interview that he has, that somebody interviews him, and he realizes that You know, these kids are no different from white kids. These kids are no different from me. Just because they have olive skin, dark eyes, and black hair, you know, they ain't no different from a white kid, and that's true. And I think that's that because he was an educator and he taught Hispanic kids. I think that was his turning point, thinking that, you know, we shouldn't treat these people this way. And then, you know, also like um, Kennedy, you know, he also, um, you know, was on the side of black people, and which by the way, at that time, a lot of black people were Republicans. They were Republican voters. But you know, times changed, people change. Now, nowadays, black people, mostly all of them, are Democrats, and they vote for a racist party. Or they vote for black people vote for a party that has a racist past, for a party that wanted to keep their ancestors enslaved. If I was black, and if you know, if I did my research, my history of the Democratic Party, I would definitely switch parties, man. You know, so it was Democrats. It was the Democrats who, in charge, who kept going west and west and west, killing Indians on all the way to California. Well, California was owned by Mexico at that time, but it was the Democrats that broke the treaties with Native Americans. It was the Democrats that did one atrocity after another to different people, and yet the Democrats want to blame the Republican voter. You know, that we're the racist. When when it's the Democrats that are teaching critical race, that critical race theory. Now the Democrats, the racist Democrats, are now teaching children to hate white people. That is because Hispanic kids and black kids and minority kids are in the situation that they're in because it's the white kids. It's because the white people put them in that situation. You know, I'm Hispanic and I'm doing okay. I've never felt that the white man never gave me a chance. As a matter of fact, many white people put their trust in me to work for them. You know, it's entrepreneurs that create jobs. They just want hardworking people, people that they could trust. My bad, I'm digressing. So the Democrats are now teaching critical race theory to children, and I see it in my sister's kids. I see it in them, and I tell them, no, don't say that. How can you talk bad about people like that? I have family members who are white, you know. My grandmas were of white complexion. So who is the racist here? Who is teaching racism to children? Like, it's the Democrats who've always been racist. It's the truth. It's the truth. You might say, man, this guy's stupid. This guy's, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But think about it. I mean, really, Democrats, think about it. Take your time. We got modern technology. You could use your phone to look up the Democratic racist past, and you will quickly realize that, you know what, I'm on the wrong side. Now what am I gonna do with my Confederate flag? Okay, I might just throw it away because I have to draw a line. I see my Confederate flag. I think when I see it, I think of the Dukes of Hazzard. And when I see it behind a pickup truck or when I see it anywhere, I think of the Dukes of Hazzard. I really don't think about, the Dixiecrats and the South. Yes, but the truth is that yes, it does have a history. But you know, but I have to get rid of it. You know, I'm not getting rid of this because this is my my DVDs, you know, for my favorite TV show. But here's the thing about this TV show. When the media was showing all these monuments taken down, and you can no longer buy a rebel T-shirt, you know, of a Confederate flag at Walmart and all that. Uh, this guy here was standing up for the Confederate flag. He was standing up for everything that, you know, that had to do with the history of the Confederate flag, the generally, and this and that. And he is a Republican, but he saw this as history. He was standing up to his American history, you know, because it is American history. How can you destroy American history? You know, and not only that, these two guys are Yankees. These two guys are this guy, I think he was from New York. This guy was from like Midwest, from the somewhere up in, I don't remember where this guy was from. Daisy Dukes, look at her. She's her father is of German ancestry and her mom is Hispanic ancestry. You know, she was not a blonde hair, you know, blue-eyed blonde. She was a brunette with hazel eyes. You know, she could pass as one of those, as a Mexican actress, you know. But yeah, man, I mean, I think the Dukes of Hazzard, the TV show, the Dukes of Hazzard. If I think about it, and I still watch it on YouTube because I don't have a DVD player anymore. I think the show, the Dukes of Hazzard, kind of made fun of the South, of the corrupt South. You know, it kind of like, but made it funny. Watch those TV shows, and realize, you know, how they were bringing something like a reality that was going on, but turning it around and making it into a comedy. And they were pretty much making fun of the South. You know, these Yankees created this TV show that was pretty much making fun of the South. And that's all it was. It was a TV show. That's all it was. But I still have to get rid of my flag, of my rebel flag, because I'm a Republican. Because I am a conservative, I'm a Republican voter. And I'm on the side of Lincoln. And I think that the Republican Party has a more favorable history, a more honorable history, and the Democratic Party has more of a racist history. They, after the 1960s and on forward, they try to change and they try to clean up their image, but it's still there. It's still there now. Now they're fooling around with socialism and communism and Marxism. They're playing with fire. It's dangerous. Democrats don't allow this, or choose just, you know, research your history of your party and then make a choice. So I'm always going to be, as long as Facebook keeps me on Facebook, I'm going to try to just spread, you know, give information that might be helpful for some people. So the last words I'll just say this. Should a good Republican, a voting Republican, a conservative, also have in their garage or in their man cave a Confederate flag alongside with an American flag? Is that proper? Think about it. Is the Confederate flag, does it belong in the Republican Party, or should it remain in the party of the Democrat parties where it originally came from, where it actually belongs? You know, so we have to make a choice. and I hope you make a good choice. And that's all I gotta say. And I gotta go. And I hope this is useful information. Cheers.